Good evening, everybody. How's everybody doing this evening? Hello, hello, everybody. Do 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 do. Oh, my name is Jackie. I'm one of the designers here with Unique in the Creek, and tonight we're doing a double hummingbird kit. Whoop whoop, whoop whoop. Right, right. All excited. Let's talk about the things that you get in your kit, and then we shall get started. All right. First of all, in your double hummingbird kit, you will get 2 rectangle boards. And then you're going to get 2 signs. One's going to be a round sign. It's already got the holes punched in it. Okay. And the other one is going to be a hummingbird. All right, and then you're going to get your pre-cut mesh, fine weave, weave, and then you're going to get 2. Look at how pretty that is. Look at how pretty that is. Can I help you, ma'am? Two floral picks with lots and lots of greenery and florals on them. You're going to get 2 of those, 1 for each. Okay. And then you're going to get pipe cleaners. Cable tie mounts. And I know it comes with a tape measure. Don't know what I did with the tape measure. And then you're going to get 3 beautiful ribbons. You're going to get lavender and purple. Lavender. All right, let's talk about the tools that you're going to need. To cut your ribbon, you're going to need a pair of scissors. Okay. Now, you don't necessarily need wire cutters for this pick. This pick, we're going to be able to pull it apart. Okay? But I'm going to use wire cutters. Like, this pick will pull apart. So you don't necessarily need wire cutters, but I'm going to use mine for this one. Okay? And then, to help get my pipe cleaners through my mesh later on, I do have this nifty little tool that I use. It's just called a darning needle. Okay? It's a big yarn needle. That's all it is. Okay? And the reason I use a darning needle, I will show you, is because when I go to pull my pipe cleaner through, I hook it on. And when I hook it on and go to pull it through, I fold my pipe cleaner down like so and pull it through. And that makes it easier to get my pipe cleaner through. Okay? So that's why I use a darning needle. Some people use crochet needles, things like that, but I use a darning needle. Now, another possible tool, you can get these at Walmart. You can get these at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, but this is a metal hole punch. Okay? I like using the metal hole punch, just a little bit more than the cable tie mounts, but don't worry, I'll show you how to use them both. The one thing we don't need is we don't need my rolling mesh cutter this time, because the mesh is already cut for us. We're ready to rock and roll on that. But another neat little tool that I use to cut my ribbon is going to be the Measure Buddy. Okay, you can get this at Unique in the Creek, and believe it or not, you can make bows with this. Okay, I have a couple of tutorials out there on Unique in the Creek showing you how to make bows with the Measure Buddy. All right. If nobody has any questions about the supplies, let's get started. Hello, everybody. Now, we are winding down the month of kit craze. Okay? There's not many kits left. So don't drag your feet, because when the kits are gone, they're gone, my friends. I do know that Lori wanted to make sure that there was more kits available, and so they wouldn't sell out as fast. All right, so we're going to need 8 pipe cleaners for each board. And tonight, since the other day I did a tutorial showing you how to do the 2 side by side, I'm just going to do 1 tonight. Okay, my friends? And you would just do the same exact thing to the other one, all right? So let's load our board, 8 pipe cleaners. I like to start in the middle. And then you're just going to skip over a hole. And then you're going to do these 2 holes on the end. All right. And then we're going to do the same exact thing on the other end. That easy, my friends. We're going to tie our pipe cleaners, twist them directly between the 2. And don't forget, you can get these supplies and this wreath kit at uniqueinthecreek.com. And for all the tutorials on all the kits that we have done so far, go to Unique in the Creek on YouTube to watch the replays. Keep in mind, my friends, replays are no longer available on Facebook after 30 days, but all the replays for Unique in the Creek will be available on YouTube. Now, when I take my mesh out, y'all, because I'm going to reuse this bag, I'm going to turn my bag upside down to make sure that my little flap doesn't get stuck on my mesh. Just my little trick. And then we're going to throw that down. All right. Now, because this sign is so big compared to the rectangle board, we're going to do something different with our mesh. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Try to give y'all as much leftover mesh as possible. So on this tie and this tie, whoop, we're just going to use 10 inches. And we're just going to do a straight ruffle, my friends. Just a straight ruffle up. Nothing fancy. Straight ruffle up. Okay, we're just going to tie that in there in the center first. The nice thing about the fine weave mesh, even if you get fine weave mesh on the roll, once you heat seal it, It is not prone to fraying much, so you can do a straight ruffle on it. Okay? Continuing on with just using 10 inches of mesh. Because if you overlap your mesh like I'm doing, you're going to get plenty of coverage. And notice how I'm kind of flattening it out. So yeah, you're going to be able to put this one behind a screen door. Let go. Go down to the ends. Do the same thing again. Hello, Miss Tina Kelly. How are you this evening? Well, hello there, Miss Lori. How are you? All right, so like I said, we're just using 10 inches of the mesh. So that means for each board, you're only going to use 16 pieces and you got 40. So you're going to have plenty left over for another project. Okay. All right. So when I'm done with my mesh, we're just going to slide that right back into packaging to save it for later. Whoops. I finally got the comments to pull up on my phone. Yay. All right. We're going to take our 2.5 lavender mesh and we're going to cut, we're going to cut our ribbon just 12 inches tonight. Okay. Now we're going to cut it 14. We're going to cut it 14. And we're just going to cut 8 pieces of this. Doot, doot, doot. The reason we dovetail our ribbon is it's decorative and makes it pretty. Yes. Make sure you post your finished wreaths and unique wreath creators. And if you make a kit, one of the kits, I encourage you to tag me in it. I want to see. I want to see yours. This purple ribbon, it's a floral. So pretty. I love it when people tag me so I can see the wreaths, their wreaths. Even if it's not a kit, if I inspired you to make it, tag me. Need help, tag me. There's so many colors in this hummingbird that if you wanted to, you could grab another color of ribbon to make your bow. I would grab maybe a pink and a green myself. We're going to take one of each ribbon, one lavender and one purple, line them up. Like, they should make just a ribbon like that. Trust me, y'all. They should make just a ribbon like that. That's pretty. Put your ribbons in there and then pull them apart. We're going to fan them out. All nice and pretty. Lori still here? Let go. Okay, fine. Stick it together. I'll use you together. What kit am I supposed to do this Wednesday, Lori? Whoop. Hello, everybody. No, I have another kit. It's Kit Craze month. But if you've been watching Jackie's picks that are released every Wednesday at 1 o'clock, I've given you my choices that I would put together with the kits, with the sign and ribbon kits. And on some of them, I've even shown you what board I would use to go with them. Oh, okay. Aha. Uh-huh. I see what it is now. There's my kits. I have all my kits lined up, y'all. Now I know. All right. Before we put our sign on, while I was putting my ribbon on, I was like, oh. We're going to get 8 more pieces of mesh because we have plenty. All right. And what we're going to do is we're going to roll this up as a spiral. Look how nice that rolls up. So nice. We're going to roll that up and we're going to find center point and pinch it. Okay, when you do the spiral, make sure that the open cut edge is facing down, and we're going to put 1 in each tie. And then we're going to put our sign on. I like using spirals sometimes because they thicken the wreath up sometimes. They add a little bit of texture to it. In this case, I kind of want to use it a little bit to break up some of the purple. Yep, there's a huge variety of the ribbon and sign sets in stock. Does Lori still have the purple roses? Well, they're actually lavender. Tina, does she still have the lavender roses? My pleasure, Miss Carrie. All right, so there's already holes in this sign. It comes pre-punched. Just slide your pipe cleaner right in. And we're going to go just a little high. We're going to put our bow right here. Okay, so we're going to go a little high with our round sign. If you wanted to, some people like, you could put it directly in the middle. You could put a bow up here and a bow down there if you wanted to. I'm going to put mine a little bit high. Come back here, sign. Don't run away. Whoops. I'm using the 2 holes directly at the top for attaching my sign. And I'm just going to do that loosely at first. Because at the bottom, to keep my sign from sliding down, I'm going to come up to these 2 holes. So I'm right here at these 2 holes at the top, and approximately right here, or this one, is where the bottom of the sign is, but I'm going to come up to pull leverage up so my sign doesn't slide down. Okay? I'm going to pull it down until I get just a little bit of resistance on my mesh. And now that I've got my bottom secure, I'm going to come back and tighten my top pipe cleaner. And then because everything looks like a hot mess express, we're going to come back and fix all of our goodies really quick. Because we have smushed them. Putting the sign on. Putting our spirals on. So we're going to fix it really quick. Fluff everything back out. All right, don't worry. This will look good when I'm done. Trust the process, my friends. Okay, so I have leftover ribbon from other kits. I just kind of want to inspire you. If you have leftover ribbon from another kit, want to add some ribbon to your collection, I'm going to add a couple of colors into here to make a fairly large bow. Or you could just use what comes in the kit. Up to you. Okay. Now keep in mind, don't forget you get 3 ribbons in the kit. These are the ribbons that you get in the kit. We're going to use all of these. Okay. But I want to add in a little bit of texture with the green and pink prints. Okay. And these are left over from other projects and kits that I've done. Okay. We're going to grab our Easy Bow Stow and Go. You can get this at uniqueinthecreek.com. Lynn's not even here. She's not even here. Like I'm doing like that for her. She's not here. So you can get it at uniqueinthecreek.com. Well, Miss Janie, to be honest, it's not just the time that you factor in. Picture this, okay? And of course, I started making wreaths umpteen years ago. Okay? You start a new job. And this is what I tell people. You start a new job. And of course, when you start a new job, because you're learning, okay? You're not going to get paid as much, right? Everybody with me on that? Everybody understand what I'm saying? So what I tell people when you're first starting out, the whole idea when I first started out was I needed to learn, and I needed to keep learning to make better wreaths. So I didn't charge that much. I was more concerned about the cost of my materials and getting paid a little bit. You know, I might make $15 or $20 on a wreath. That's just realistic when you're first starting out. Because the whole idea, really, you want to sell it. And you want to get it gone. Okay? So, then, and this is what I tell people, there's an actual guideline. You're like, well, how do I know when to go up in my prices and what I charge for labor? Well, here's what I tell people. When you start selling more wreaths, okay? when all of a sudden you're overwhelmed with sales, it's time to go up in your price and how much you charge. Okay? And I would go up to like 25. Okay? And then if you're still overwhelmed with the amount of wreaths that you're selling, go up a little bit more. Okay? It's a bump up until it's like you're not overwhelmed. You're still selling wreaths. Okay? And just slowly. And then over time, the more that you sell everything, you're going to bump up, and then you're going to become consistent in your business. But if you're just starting out, you're not going to make what I make. I'm just going to tell you realistically. Okay? Because you're just starting. Nobody just starting out makes what a professional makes. I'm a professional wreath maker. Okay? I've been doing this for umpteen years. I have earned what I charge by far. Does that make sense? All right, we're going to make a pretty big bow here. Did I explain that? Everybody with me on that? Little sidetrack note. If everybody charged, and I mean, there's people say a guideline 3 times the materials. Okay? The math just doesn't work for me like that because it's a tax thing and it just kind of like, yeah. All right, so we're going to start with the Pretty Sparkle 2.5 purple, or excuse me, lavender. Well, and also too, like when you get serious about it, like, and what I've told people is you don't really have, like, people put the cart before the horse. They run and they get their tax ID, resales license because they want to start a business. Okay, but the thing is that with making wreaths, you don't have a business, and it's nice. It's the nice thing about making wreaths and doing home-based job. You don't have a business until you have sales. So until you really get selling, even on your taxes, you could still claim the cash without having a tax ID. Okay? And in some states, 3 times the material, you end up paying more in taxes. So I tell people when you finally are selling enough wreaths and whatnot, that it's time for you to go sit down with a CPA, and they'll tell you whether or not you need to do 3 times the materials plus labor. Sit down with a professional in your area, in your state, because your state taxes are not the same as mine, unless you live in Kentucky. Please don't edit this part out. We want to go back and hear Jackie run her mouth. Well, and that's it. Like, Okay, now these two this ribbon does not come in the kit. Okay, I'm just showing y'all if you have leftover ribbon. Okay, just to let y'all know. Because there are so many colors in the signs. You know, look at your leftovers. Some states for home-based businesses, and I've been doing this long enough, I've like talked to people about taxes. Some states for home-based businesses, you are better off buying everything that you use, unfortunately, wholesale, because they're going to tax you going and coming in that state. They're going to tax you twice on everything. In the state of Kentucky, it's different. They don't tax you again on something that you already paid taxes on. That's why I tell people, if you're serious about having a business, before you take the plunge in getting the tax ID and all that stuff, you need to sit down with a CPA. And they'll tell you what's the best thing to do for your area for you to keep the most money in your pocket. I would never recommend that you listen to any of us, because like in my state, they charge us tax on shipping. Some states, there's only 7 states, now I know this from research, there's only 7 states that don't tax shipping. So I have to pay tax on shipping. So if I was to do free shipping and include it in the price of my wreath, I have to pay tax on that. What state are you in, Jessica? If you're in like one of the northern New England states, that would be it. I know a lot of the New England northern states tax you going and coming. Yep. That was the state I was actually referring to. I've got a friend that lives in New York, and they tax you going and coming. Yep. All right, we're going to make these tails just a little bit longer. Just for a little whimsy at the end. And we're going to do 3 loops of this lavender to kind of polish off our wreath, our bow. Yeah, you don't need a tax ID necessarily, just as long as you claim the money you make. So, I mean, y'all, I sell some of my wreaths for upwards of $200 and something. And it goes back to also, too, if you want to just sell local, you want to ship. You know, when I first started out, all my business was local, and I was delivering wreaths. I was delivering them all over the place. I mean, all over the place. And then word of mouth started spreading. You know, friends are friends and friends with Facebook, and then next thing I know, I start shipping. All right, I'm going pretty high up with my bow because I kind of basically just want it under my sign. Don't call people, you know, think about this. Like, people may pay a lot for the wreaths, but some of y'all need to take a look around at your craft stash. Like, people may spend a lot of money on wreaths, whatnot. We all have our vices and things that we spend a lot of money on. And I can give y'all a tip on how to find those kind of customers. On how to find people that will pay that kind of money. I like to pull a couple of my tails up to the top of my bow to make it look a whole lot fuller. Some people don't like to mess with shipping, and that's fine. But even in your area, there are people that will pay that, y'all. And trust me, I live in Podunk. The community around me that I live in is actually a very poor community. Okay? But there's certain mentalities in order to sell wreaths that you have to do away with. Okay? Now, not at first, not when you first start making wreaths. When you first start making wreaths, remember, well, that's the progression. That's just starting out, folks. You're just starting out, and it's kind of like an apprenticeship. If you go in at an apprenticeship, you're not going to make as much money, okay, until you have earned your wings, so to speak. All right. Let's add our little florals now. I'm supposed to be teaching y'all how to make a kit, but I guess I could tell you how to sell too. Y'all done sidetracked my mouth. Okay, so once you get your bow on, And I told y'all I wanted to put that directly below my wreath. We now have the florals. Okay, these are very lightweight florals, y'all. If you really wanted to, you could just use your hot glue gun to put these in. Okay? But what I kind of do when I see and I have a floral like this, I'm just going to tell y'all so you learn. I see pink, 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 pink. Now, I don't want all my pink together. So I'm going to kind of sort it out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut my pink. And I'm just cutting the pink flower. We might come back for the grass, y'all. All right. And right now, I just want it in a group of 3 because I'm just going to add the floral around the top. My bow covers so much down here. We really just need the floral around the top. Okay. So next up, I'm going to say, okay, well, now we need purple. And what I'll do once again is I'll look for branches that are the same. So here we have 1, 2, 3 of these branches that are the same. So I'll cut those out. All right. Now, because this and this is different, I might add these in, but I'm not going to add these in. I'll save these for something else. And we're going to come back for the greenery, y'all. We're just going to get our main flowers in first. So this is like our foliage. So we'll put these in first. And like I said, these are so lightweight, y'all. You can just take a hot glue gun and hot glue them in. You can just tie them in with the pipe cleaner. I'm going to hot glue them in. Hey, I'm that person. Ask the question. Somebody else may be afraid to ask the question. All right. So what we're going to do, because this is like, I'm going to cut this stem off just a little bit. And then we're going to hot glue. And we're going to kind of push the pipe cleaner out of the way. You can cut the pipe cleaners off. I just push them up and out of the way. And one of the biggest reasons I push my pipe cleaners up and out of the way is because sometimes when I'm making a wreath, an idea comes to me and I want to add something else and I need my pipe cleaner. That's the whole reason, like, I don't cut mine. Did Tina Kelly ever answer me about the lavender and pink roses? All right, now we're going to come back with the pink flowers. And I'm going to come off to the side just a little bit. I'm going up into the mesh, and I try to hit the board too, because the boards actually hold the hot glue pretty well. So I do both. I'm going up into the mesh, and I try to hit the board. A little bit of both. Good question. You might not have been here when I asked it first, Tina. I don't know. Are they purple roses or are they lavender, Tina? I can't remember off the top of my head. I know the pink roses are more of a bright pink, which is fine because there's a bright pink in here. Alright, so now we're going to come back and feed some of this greenery, y'all. And we're going to get the other two pink flowers as well. And we're going to cut those the same length. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to go between these two spaces right here to add those. I know we're gonna use these, y'all, but yep, I have a plan. We're gonna take one purple one from this pick because we've got two. Whoop. And then I'm gonna take the purple one from this pick. And then you use the yellow ones on your other wreath. And we're going to put these under in between, kind of. So here's your pink tie, here's your pink tie. We're going between with this, y'all. And be careful, don't hit your ribbon. If you do, make sure you fix it immediately, because otherwise it will be stuck, and you may not be happy about that. Okay, now remember I told y'all the reason I don't like cutting my pipe cleaners off? Well, we're going to use them again. And we're going to cut 3 ribbon tails with the smaller ribbon, 14 inches. Okay? Just 3 of them. 14 inches. And this is what people used to call for a long time a Jackie bow. Because, you know, when I first started making wreaths, I didn't know how to make bows. So this is what I did. And I did it for a very, very long time. Then I started adding it in different places. Then people got to know me and it became the Jackie bow. Okay, the next pieces we're going to cut... 18 inches. we're going to cut 3 of those. And we're going to dig for those pipe cleaners. Okay. Pull the pipe cleaner back out. And we're going to find the halfway point, just like we're putting normal ribbon tails in, and we're going to pinch that down. But what we're going to do, just pinch it down, and we're just going to lay that into our pipe cleaner. Just set it there for right now. Don't need to do anything else, just set it there. Now our 18-inch piece, we're just going to lap that over. Okay. And make a bow. Pinch it up. And now we're going to tie our pipe cleaner. And this would be when I cut a pipe cleaner. All right. Yep, the small wire ribbon is 7/8, 5/8, 5/8. And it is wired. And we're going to really give this a nice little fun curl. We're not going to lay these straight. We're just going to give them a fun little curl down. And we're going to do that 2 more times. Find my pipe cleaner, not a problem. Get my ribbon tail, find the center, pinch it up. Set it into my pipe cleaner. Lap that over, and we're just going to make a bow. We hit about 68. We had nice weather today. It'll be a little bit nicer tomorrow, though, thank goodness. All right, that's so close to the inside, so I'm just going to tuck my tail, and that'll be okay. I kind of want to be whimsical with my ribbon tails. I don't want them to be perfect. So I'm kind of curling them up pretty good. You could even take them and kind of pull them out a little bit. Whatever you wanted to do with them. But that little bit just kind of adds a nice little, perfect little touch to this. I kind of saw that brewing along as I was making this, because everything's just so dainty and nice with the flowers. So I saw dainty little bows coming. Like I said, I'm taking them just through my fingers, and I don't want my tails for these bows to be straight. I want a little bit of whimsy. And now that I've smashed everything, getting those in, come back and fluff everything up. Ta-da! Do-do-do-do-do-do. Isn't that pretty, y'all? All right, my friends. Y'all have a great rest of your weekend. I will see y'all again on Wednesday. Wednesday, my friends. And I don't know what I'm doing Wednesday. Tina Kelly told me what I'm doing next Saturday, but I think, is it the Monarch Kit Wednesday? Maybe. I don't know. But we're doing another kit. That's all I know. All right. Y'all have a great rest of your evening. I will see y'all Wednesday.